Do you have voices in your head? If so, you're not alone. Like the proverbial angel and devil on our shoulders, we have voices in our head, namely the ego and our higher mind. I get a lot of questions on how to tell the difference between these two voices. So today we're going to talk about just that, and make sure to hold on to the end because I'm also going to explain why it's just so hard for people to stop listening to their egos. Now, if you're excited to watch today's video, please give it a thumbs up right now, and let's go ahead and jump on in. You're always going to have a voice in your head. Okay, so there's always a voice that you're listening to. You're either listening to your ego or your higher mind. Okay, but let's begin with ego. Now, here in physical reality, we live in a paradigm that is built on duality. It's built on the idea of this and that, opposites. And this is all made possible through our ego. Ego is what perceives separation rather than unity. Okay, so ego perceives that you and I are different. Ego perceives good versus bad. Ego represents, therefore, fear. And the reason why this is that if you can perceive yourself as separate, if you can perceive yourself as being apart from everything else, it is a little bit scary. In fact, it can be very scary to feel that you are on your own against the rest of the world. Now, because your ego focuses on fear and it focuses on separation, it focuses on isolation, when your ego voice is talking to you, it is going to sound fearful. Your ego voice is the voice that tells you, oh, they're looking at you funny, or that's not going to work out. This is going to fail. You can't do that. Because the ego doesn't understand that it is one with everything. Another characteristic of the ego voice is that it's often loud. Ego voice is pretty loud. It tends to get in your face. Okay, so just like if you were watching a scary movie, the scary parts are gonna jump out at you. They're gonna make you stand up. They're gonna make you take notice. Well, when ego voice talks to you, ego voice tends to be rather stern, rather rude, rather abrasive. And it's very easy, therefore, to hear your ego voice. And that's one of the reasons why it is so hard for people to turn away from their egos, even though ego always steers you in the direction of things not working out, fear, limitation, problems. Because ego is so loud, so abrasive, that's one of the key reasons why people have a hard time not listening to ego voice. Although there is a much more profound reason why people have a hard time of letting go of the ego. And again, I'll mention that at the end of the video. Oh, and by the way, have you subscribed yet to my channel? If so, thank you so much. And if not, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the higher mind voice. Now, unlike your ego voice, your higher mind voice does not perceive separation. It does not perceive that you and I are separate. It does not perceive that there are wrong people or bad people. Rather, the higher mind is a voice that understands that everything is one. It is a voice that perceives love and unity, but it does not perceive separation. And because the higher mind does not perceive separation, it does not speak to you in fear. So when your higher mind speaks to you, it tends to speak more quietly, more gently. I mean, what's the rush? What's the worry? What's the problem? If you know everything is one. And so that's another reason why it can be hard for people to really pay attention to the higher mind, because it isn't as blunt, as obvious, as in your face as the ego voice. Fortunately though, even though the higher mind is not particularly loud, it does give you lots and lots of signs and symbols to guide you if you are attuned to looking for them and following them. And as a quick side note, if you've been waiting for my Signs of the Universe course to open back up, I have opened it up for registration today. I usually do registrations for 2 weeks. This time around, I'm only gonna do it for 1 week because I've got a lot going on. But it is a downloadable course. As long as you enroll during the 1 week period, you get all of the materials and you can work through it at your own pace. But if you're interested in looking into that Signs from the Universe course, please go ahead and look below in the description for a link on that. All right, so like I was saying before, there is a pretty profound reason why people have a challenging time ignoring their ego voice and listening to the higher mind. And while the volume of the voices is part of the equation, the big reason, like the really big reason why it's hard to let go of your ego is that underlying that is a fear that if you don't listen to the ego, you're going to cease to be an individual. See, to become absorbed in the higher mind is to become absorbed in the understanding that you are one. You are one with everybody. You are one with everything. And that you are actually non-distinguishable from the rest. And although the state of the higher mind is pure bliss, pure rapture, pure enjoyment, the idea of letting go of your individuality is extremely terrifying on a subconscious level. And so that's really the primary reason why people tend to stick with their egos, is that ego perceives separate. Ego perceives I am different. Ego perceives I am special. Ego perceives I am unique. And we're all on this progression together of coming back into the knowledge of all being one. And so there will come a time where we let go of that. But why we struggle with it now is because we fear letting go of ourselves. And while it may be scary to think about that, like if you haven't thought about that before and you really contemplate it, it can kind of blow your mind a little bit that on my spiritual journey, the more I listen to the higher mind, the more I move in the direction of love, the further I get away from being an individual, from being separate. Although that can be scary, we really don't have any other choice if we want to be happy. Because happiness is in the direction of unity. And so what I found through working on my own through this and working with clients through this is that, just moving in that direction, what you start to see happening is that things just really start falling into place. Things are a lot more malleable. Things work out for you better because you're not separate from them anymore. It's kind of like, if you're watching Star Wars, and they're having Jedi training and they can just reach out and their lightsaber comes into their hand. Why? Because they're connected to it. They're not separate from it. That's the direction that we're moving in. And the ego doesn't like it, but that's okay. Because really, in order to achieve happiness, in order to achieve spiritual growth, in order to achieve enlightenment, we have to merge back in with that higher mind voice. And the journey is actually a lot of fun. You don't need to worry about letting go of your individuality all at once. If you want to learn more about that, I would recommend looking into A Course in Miracles. And that one's a very polarizing piece of literature, but very profound when it comes to working through ego. And also, if you're looking for guidance, smooth guidance to work with the higher mind, to just allow things to kind of work out for you more, again, that Signs from the Universe course is open this week only. I only open it up twice a year. When it's gone for at least 6 months. And so if you'd like to look more into that course, again, go ahead and look below in the description for a link on that. Thanks so much for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye-bye.